Today we are going to be making a pillowcase using the burrito method. You will need for this a 12-inch wide strip for the cuff, a 2.5-inch wide strip for the accent piece, and a 27-inch or 3/4 yard wide piece for the body. We are using today for ours two beautiful motifs. These are ones that there is no right or wrong side, and an adorable glow-in-the-dark frog print that we have available here at the store. The next step is to pin your accent piece to your cuff piece. Since mine don't have a right or wrong side, it doesn't matter, but if you are using fabric that does have a right and a wrong side, you will want the right sides to be facing each other so that these stitches will be on the inside. Alright, next step is going to be using your sewing machine, using a 1/4-inch seam allowance. Stitch these two pieces together. After this edge is all sewn up, you will want to iron it out. Make sure that this is all nice and crisp. You're going to want to pin and press this accent band over in half so that these edges meet. And now back to sewing with that 1/4-inch seam allowance. Just like previous steps, after you're done sewing, you will want to press this accent piece. It's a lot of ironing, but it makes a better product in the end. I have also pinned the accent in the cuff to the majority piece of the pillowcase. Right sides to right sides. Alright, next step is going to be the burrito part. You will roll this up like so until you get to about right here. In that part, we're going to fold this over, and then I will pin these edges together. We are now back to sewing that piece that you just pinned. It includes the accent piece, the cuff, and the body. Don't forget to use that 1/4-inch seam allowance. Alright, and now for the fun part, pulling it out of the tube. We are back over to the ironing board. You're going to want to iron this part flat and then iron up at the top here to get those nice creases. Now it is time to cut off those salvage edges. You'll want to line it up this way and that way as best you can. Then figure out which part is the smallest area that you can go. So for me, it will be right this way. You want to make sure that you are cutting on the right side if you're right-handed, left side if you're left-handed, just to make the least chance of you getting hurt by the blade. We've got those salvage edges cut off. Now we have to fold this over, line everything up to pin it. You want to make sure that these accent pieces and these cuffs line up really well because those will be continuous. Wrong sides together, you will be stitching down this side, but then you're going to flip it over and stitch again. So this seam will not be visible in the end product. We've got this side all lined up and pinned, so we are going to start sewing. I am going to bump my machine over a bit so that this needle moves close to this edge. It will save a little bit of fabric from having to be cut off on the side to make sure these edges are not visible on the outside in the finished product. Alright, we have these two sides stitched together. I am going to trim about this much off, getting close to that stitch, but not directly on it. I don't want to cut those. We have flipped this inside out so that the right sides are with right sides. We are going to move our stitch back over to the middle to get that 1/4-inch seam allowance, then sew down this. I have pressed this to have that nice crisp edge. We are nearing the end. I pressed this last seam that we sewed, and I have moved my machine back over to the right so this will be easier to conceal down here. I pinned it just in case. Alright, this is the last seam needing to be sewn. I have moved my sewing machine back over. I have pressed this. No pins needed for this part. After this is done, just turn it right side out and you will have a fairly simple pillowcase done.